So what's up, guys? I just posted a live video that evidently had poor audio quality, thanks Facebook Live. I noticed that my new laptop, having the Windows 10 kind of format, has the Facebook app, therefore it can apparently do Facebook Live from my laptop, and I thought that was nifty. And of course, I shouldn't have even got my hopes up. It kept cutting me out the whole time. Could be my internet connection, or it's just the typical bullshit I have to deal with. So anyway, some people ask where I get my books from, or, randomly will go, how do you keep finding all these books? It's something specifically in my chart. I would assume that it's Jupiter in my 12th house, but in particular, I'm an impulsive kind of person, and me being a Libra with a lot of Sagittarius influencing me as well, I am not necessarily an impulsive shopper person. Well, I mean, I am, but I'm not like a shopaholic, because my Virgo Mars makes me very frugal. So I like to go to thrift stores and stuff like that. Essentially, it's kind of something I like to, it's up my alley, more or less. I happened to be running some errands today and taking people to the mall. I went through every single freaking store in that mall, and I couldn't even make myself love something that I would willingly buy. And I realized that today's moon day, and I have moon conjunct Saturn, which would debilitate my impulsive kind of, Sagittarius urges to buy something, more or less. But in particular, I looked everywhere, and I couldn't even find anything I liked in Hot Topic, not even accessory-wise. Spencer's, and I even went into Claire's. The only thing I did buy was I bought some, extracts or whatever, essential oils from GNC to burn. But, so I ended up just saying, I'm like, God, I just feel like I haven't, gotten my fix yet. So I went to the Goodwill, which is usually what I do, and I was starting to doubt everything. I was like, how could I not even find one thing that I like in Ross, Spencer's, Hot Topic, Claire's? Not one thing. No matter what the price, not one thing. So after I went to the Goodwill, I instantly just go back to the book section. And obviously, if you've been if you've been paying attention to some of my podcasts recently, with a lot of my interesting paranormal phenomenon going on, these will pique your interest for sure and be very interesting. So this is not a new phenomenon. This happens to me all the time. Phantom encounters, that's one. Psychic powers, that's two. Psychic voyages, 3. And cosmic connections. Okay, these are encyclopedias. And the cool thing, actually, too, is I definitely recommend older books, especially nowadays. Not only are textbooks or reference books just being regurgitated, but a lot of the core or origin of the research that was done for the information that's in those books was never even touched or anything like that by the person that revised and republished the book. So it's important for you to get back to the core of who actually developed the theories and who actually was hands-on with the experiences that then drafted the outline of these said books. That being said, Pluto in particular has to do with the underworld, the underbelly, and things that are hidden away from our physical eyes. And it ruling Scorpio, it has to do with darkness, the occult, and secrets and taboo things, right? So Pluto in Scorpio, that particular generation is going to be, that's my generation, is going to be the ones that have a significant interest in occult studies, or they have some sort of distinctive connection to paranormal experiences, phenomenon, or the subject matter in general. So when you're looking at psychic powers and psychic voyages and the cosmic connections with phantom encounters and things like that, specifically the phantom encounters one in particular, it's always important. Well, I mean, it's not always important, but for me personally, before I go and buy a book, I don't necessarily skim through it, but I do like to look at the date it was published, the year. And because this is Phantom Encounters, that would have something to do with Scorpio, Pluto, 8th house kind of stuff. I went and skimmed through here, It was published in 1988, and that is the peak, or at least the middle, of the Pluto-Scorpio generation. So right there and then, from previous experiences I've had with other books that I've accumulated, in my experience, this book is going to be not only very useful, but it's going to be an impressive reference for this in particular. And then as I was kind of looking at part of this here, it said founder Henry R. Luce from 1898 to 1967. So he was doing continuous research on this for those years. He contributed to mystic places, psychic powers, UFO phenomena, and psychic voyages. Wow. Awesome. Ooh. I love this. Oh my gosh, this is great. Wow. Phantoms of the Mind. Okay, I'm not gonna like start drooling all over this. Yeah. So, and all these other books that are part of the series were written by him as well, so self-explanatory, they're gonna be great. Then I look at, this is a book I picked up today. It was like $1. I looked at the year again, and it was 1970 and then 1976. What that tells me is that this is like the hippie version of astrology. Ones that's more on the theology and not necessarily on any of the schematics or the formulas. Yeah, Virgo needs, Libra needs an energetic, forceful, outgoing partner. Someone who is ardent, ambitious, enthusiastic, may be born under the sign of Aries or Scorpio. No. In fact, my Aries ex, I'd kill him. And I can't stand Scorpios, in fact. Can't do it. Yep. So it's just, yeah, it's just this person pulling out of their ass. Okay. But that's okay. Like I said, this book was $1. There might be a couple of like gestures and stuff. I guess the grids are kind of cool for the affirmance. And at the very least, it can show me what not to do. I love books like that. Yeah, so I got that. And this is Astrology for the Age of Aquarius. The Astrologer's Modern Guide to Casting and Interpreting Charts. The thing that kills me is that it's this kind of stuff that is the main reference of a lot of astrologers that are over the age of like 30 today. And that's the problem. How to recognize your best self. How to win your ideal mate. How to discover your total sexual self. That's really 60s, 70s, isn't it? How to prevent a breakup or divorce. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. Well, this person's obviously has not learned the harsh lessons that I learned, that you cannot control fate. Nope. Nope. Unless this book says that don't get married until your Saturn return's over, then nope, it's not going to work. Okay. What else? What did I get? I've got Afterlife Experiments. Says, risking academic reputation, asks well-known mediums to become a part of the series of experiments to prove or disprove the existence of the afterlife. They do, with electrifying transcripts, documents, stringently monitored experiments with mediums attempting to contact dead friends and relatives and sitters who were masked from view and never spoke. Here are the results of the sitters and researchers alike, the revelation about the son's suicide, the deceased father's wanting to say about what his last days in a coma were like. Oh wow. Awesome. The guy who wrote this, Gary Schwartz, He's a professor of psychology, medicine, neurology, psychiatry, and surgery in the University of Arizona. Wow, parapsychology. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he's worked with Philip Sedgwick. He might have. And then I have this that I got today, which is Coping with Traumatic Death Homicide, a book to help you in your time of need. And it actually goes over like a dumbed down version, step by step, of how you can deal with if there's homicide that happens in your life with one of your loved ones. Yep, what to expect with traumatic responses, pre-trial stuff. Well, that's interesting. Then Boo gave me this one yesterday. The Soul's Journey to Hidden Truth. Breaks the mystic mold of doing what empowers the mystic in each of us. Redefines the term for modern practical mystics. One I forgot to interject because I was going over the ones I found in Vegas. This one, Fulfill Your Soul's Purpose, 10 Creative Paths for Your Life Mission. Achieve clarity and purpose, align your career with your life mission, make choices that are in sync with your true self, and experience the joy of living a meaningful life. Yeah. Release negative thinking, clear your mind, creative connection. I love when people write in books. I know that most people think that that's annoying, but when people write in books or they highlight things, I find it fascinating just because of how extensively I'm into psychology. The kind of insight I get about this person's mentality by what they find important of highlighting things. The book I actually got when I was in Vegas. What Dying People Want. Starting to see a theme here, right? And this book in particular has been the most useful book thus far, and this is actually not a new book. So anybody who's been keeping up with my paranormal hunts or whatever, this book I started putting like my mythology, folklore kind of books all into a pile, saying I need to attack these. I need to basically tackle this entire stack. And I happened to open this, so the 12th of April was the first day that I had my first EVP thing. And it's supposedly supposed to be an annual festival to celebrate the goddess of Ceres, which Ceres in Chiron opposition with the Galactic Center is a psychic signature for me in particular, that's aligned with the black hole. And so that makes sense why I suddenly started having those experiences. In fact, I remember Philip said something about how I would start to have those intense experiences as time goes on, and it's funny enough that I happened to start that on the day of the Festival of Ceres. So then April 30th was the day that me and Boo happened to go to the Roslyn Cemetery, and it was while Bergschitznacht, and it's a particular festival where people put Berg on the doors and windows to protect the home from evil spirits and sorcery. And traditionally bonfires and torches and rosemary and juniper are lit, and according to legend, witches can be seen riding across the sky on broomsticks on this dark and magical night. So we did get some activity, but it wasn't anything necessarily concerning. And then on the 2nd of May, during the day, in fact, the Swamp Creek Cemetery that I've been to before, there was actually a fire close to the cemetery in the distance. And I stopped there, and I did have some interactions with them during the day. And in particular, I did happen to have a full-blown argument altercation with one entity in particular, and all of them were kind of rude or fucking with me. In fact, they were mocking me. And this date says, on this date, an annual fertility festival featuring a man wearing a costume of a hobby horse or a devilish mask and a pointed hat is held in England and throughout rural regions across Europe. This consort of the great god Buddha is honored in India with a sacred festival that takes place on this date each year. So the whole a man wearing a devilish mask. Yeah. Definitely had some sort of dude confront me that day. Then on the 4th of May, when I was in Stanfield, Oregon on my way to Vegas, that was the Pleasant View Cemetery that I went to. So this one in particular is a fairy day according to Irish folklore. It is on this day that the mischievous fairy folk emerge from their hiding places to prevent human children from being stolen by the fairies and replaced by grotesque changelings. An offering of tea and bread must be left on the doorstep for the little people. For protection against fairies while traveling, especially through heavily wooded areas or open fields, wear your coat inside out. This is said to cause them great confusion, and they're unable to cause trouble. So in particular, this actual EVP and session that I had, not only did I feel a little bit unlike myself, but I documented that I actually channeled word for word content that is described by some of the people who are dead and buried in that cemetery. I had some sort of ESP GPS, since I didn't have actual service in Oregon, and I was redirected in particular to a wooded area, which is really funny. And then when I got to said cemetery, I didn't sound like myself at all until towards the very end. And then there was a cop that had his hazard lights on, or his sirens on. He just finished a traffic stop right across the street from me, not even 5 feet, across the way. And I'm carrying a Ouija board backpack, and I'm in my Victorian garb, and I'm carrying black, duffel bags, and I'm walking up in the dark by myself to a cemetery, and I was the only one walking on that street. Right. So you'd think that the cop would have said something, and he didn't. He acted as if he didn't even see me, which was interesting. But another funny thing is that I have, on one of my core angles, which is my core personality, I have Black Moon Lilith. And then I also have it trine my North Node, which means in certain contexts with the black holes and everything, I do project this kind of Lilith archetype persona. And Lilith is actually a direct, the fairies are derived from Lilith's mythology. So my tarot reading that I did before I went to this said that either a female figure is going to either give some sort of, supportive dialogue or insight, or vice versa. And I didn't necessarily get really anything supportive per se, so I would assume that it was me, more or less. And in fact, that was one of the days that that car tried to come into the cemetery and was acting really erratic and crazy. And the ladies essentially were protecting me. I can't prove that for sure, but there's no reason why that car couldn't have came closer, and why it peeled out faster than it peeled in. And then it went back the other way. But now thinking about, so wait a minute. So the car thing happened on Valdsnacht or whatever with Stacy on the 30th, and that was when evil spirits and sorcery and magic, okay? And then Pleasant View. In the Pleasant View one says mischievous fairy folk emerge, causing any trouble. So they're causing trouble. Okay. Sorcery, trouble. Okay. And then the other night that we had a car acting really erratic was the Goldfield night. And it was an annual rite called the Lemira, was performed on this date by the ancient Roman times to appease the restless spirits of the dead, who were the Lemirs, who materialized on this day to haunt the homes where they had once lived. Whew. The Lemire was also held on the 11th and the 13th of May as a part of the rite of the black beans symbolic of the underworld were tossed. Oh my god! Oh shit! Dude! Oh my god, the list. Where's my phone? Fucking balls. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? I'm so excited. I'm losing it here. Oh my god, the transcript list. No freaking way. No freaking way. That's why I need to look at these books. Give me this shit. Give me this shit. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm excited. I'm also really excited because that means that, hey, that means that Nietzsche was probably right. That thing that was taking my form wasn't me, it was one of these little motherfuckers. See? Let's see. Toss. Oh my god. Okay. Woohoo. Okay, let's see. The mirror was performed on this date of the ancient Romans times to appease restless spirits of the dead, who materialized on this day to haunt the homes where they once had lived. The Lemire was also held on the 11th and the 13th of May as a part of the rite. Black beans, symbolic of the underworld, were tossed as offerings to the ghosts, and a powerful prayer was recited 9 times. In time, tendencies, superstition, conversion, initiate. Ooh, initiate the ritual. Ooh, toss, successfully. Anyhow, session. Numerous, pattern, tradition. Countries. Wow. Dude. Requirement. So, the toss was successfully a requirement and happened numerous times throughout May. Wow. The restless spirits who materialized and haunt the homes doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't be trying to use me, because I'm sure they did something of that sort. Wow, this makes me feel so much better. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. Sweet! Dude, this book. And this was a book, like, a few years back I would have been like, I'm gonna throw this fucking shit out. But I kept the books. Wow, that's so fucking cool. Nina Mama's gonna quit this video because it's already getting to like 22 minutes. Me! Say goodbye to the camera, me. So everybody can be like, at least there was a cute cat. Oh, me. Okay, Mama's gonna put you down now. We're gonna stop the video.